Good morning. Today we're going to start lesson 13, topic 1. And this topic is going to deal with telling time. And so today we're going to work on this lesson 1 to help us understand the hour hands and the minute hands. Okay. So your I can statement says, I can tell time to the hour. So you're going to look in your math packet and take out this page, and also, you have a clock. Yours does not look like mine. Yours is a small white clock with navy blue numbers and hands on it. Mine's going to look like this. It's a bit different from yours, but yours will still work just fine. I just didn't have ones with these two different colored hands to send home with you. So find your clock and find this math page, and we'll get started. So the first thing I want you to do is to take out your clock. And even though yours doesn't look like mine, you're still going to be able to do the things that I do. Okay. So on here, on your clock, you have two movable hands. Okay. One is longer and one is shorter, and they will move in opposite directions of each other. However, okay, so they'll each move independently. Okay, so your shorter hand on your clock, I'm going to open up a picture of it so that I can make sure that I talk about yours the correct way. Your shorter hand on your clock does not quite touch the number. Okay, it points to the number or in between numbers, but it doesn't quite go. If you point it at one number, it's not going to quite touch that number. That is your hour hand. Okay. The other hand that you have actually goes a little bit on your clock, it goes a little bit on the outside of the circle. It's a little bit longer than that. So yours will touch the number and even go a little bit beyond. This is the minute hand. Okay, so the short hand is the hour, and the long hand is the minute hand. Okay, so you'll need that to work with today. All right, let's look back at your math page for the day. Okay, and we're not really going to do anything together on here, because everybody's will be different. What he is saying in the talk bubble, it says to draw a picture to show how you would tell time without clocks. Then tell a partner whether we need clocks or don't need clocks. Okay, so you obviously can't do that bottom part unless you talk to your parents and you can tell them if you think we need clocks or we don't need clocks. But let's talk about what are some ways that we could tell time without using a clock. Okay, so when I think about that, I'm going to start at the beginning of my day. I know that early in the morning, the sun is not all the way up in the sky. Okay, it's kind of down in the east because it's rising. So if I were at school and drawing a picture, I might draw a picture that shows maybe my house and the sun rising in the east. Okay, um, and that would let me know it's morning. Okay, and then if it were in the middle of the day, the sun is usually straight up over our heads. Okay, so I might draw a picture of my house with the sun right up above it, and that would tell me, hey, it's the middle of the day. And then if it were evening, I might draw a picture where the sky's kind of starting to get those pretty sunset colors. Sometimes they're purples and blues and yellows and oranges and even pinky looking. So I might draw a picture that shows my house and the sun setting with the sky, all of those pretty colors, because that's what it does in the afternoons when it's going down. It doesn't look like that in the morning when it's coming up, but it looks like that in the afternoon when it's going down. So we could tell what time that we can't tell the exact time. Like I wouldn't be able to tell you, okay, well, right now it is 11:45. I wouldn't be able to tell you the exact time, but I could know, is it morning? Is it midday? Or is it afternoon? Or if it were nighttime, I might draw a picture of my house with the sky colored a really, really dark blue, depending on if the moon was out shining, or I might even draw my house with a black sky and some stars sparkling in it, and then I would know it's nighttime. Okay, so we can tell time by where the sun is in the sky. but we can't tell the exact time like that, okay? So that's just some options of some things that you might draw if you are drawing this at home, okay? So let's go ahead and let's flip to the second page where you see your green boxes. And I'm going to lay my paper down and hold my clock up so that you can see what I'm talking about, okay? So in that first green box, they are talking about the shorthand, okay? And it tells you that the shorthand is the hour hand, okay? So the hour tells us what hour it is, okay? So let's pretend that if my blue hand wasn't on there and my red hand is pointing to the 9, okay? I would say that it is 9 o'clock, okay? And if I just put my blue hand up there, that's where o'clock would always be, okay? Now, if my hour hand is pointing to the 8, it would be 8 o'clock. If my hour hand is pointing to the 4, it would be 4 o'clock. Okay, so wherever that hour hand is pointing, and even when it's between two numbers, it's still going to be 4 o'clock, but it's going to be some minutes after that number until it gets all the way to the next number, okay? So when the hour hand points to the number, you always start with that number for the hour, okay? So 5 or 6 or 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 would be straight up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're back to 5. Okay. All right. So then the long hand is called the minute hand, and the minute hand points to the minutes. Okay. And when a minute hand points to the minutes, we read a different number. And let me look back at your clock to see what yours looks like. Okay. So on my clock, you can see here that I have some blue numbers going around. Okay. And it starts up here at 60. But when my minute hand points, each one of these little marks, the ending number is 60, okay? Each one of these little marks represents 1 minute. So when my minute hand points to that first mark, that's 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, okay? Now you see that each time we have a blue number, there's a red number under it, okay? So you'll learn as you get better with time that when the minute hand's pointing to the 1, that means it's 05. Okay, so I might say right now it is 5:05. Okay, and then it would keep going. There's 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes. Now it's on that 2 again, and there's that other number by it. It's 10. So if on your clock you have little marks, I'm looking back at it, see, you just have the little lines to help you count the minutes. Okay, but on my clock I have 2. Okay, so on your clock, when the minute hand's pointing to a 2, you would know that's 10 minutes. When it's pointing to a 3, that's 15 minutes. So we kind of count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, and there's the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. And then when the minute hand gets all the way back up here to the 12, it's 60. But instead of us saying 5:60, we say 5 o'clock. When that minute hand points straight up to the 12, it's o'clock, okay? So that's a little more than what they talk about on the top of your page, okay? If you look at the third box, it does talk about that minute hand points to the 12. We say o'clock, okay? So on your paper, you have your clock that looks like this. So this would be, I'd say my hour first, it's 3 o'clock, okay? And that's what it shows in your last box, okay? Because the hour hand is on the 3 and the minute hand is on the 12, which means o'clock, okay? So if you look at your Do You Understand Me box here at the bottom, it asks the question, it says, how is the hour hand different from the minute hand, okay? So when we look at that, how is the hour hand different from the minute hand? Okay, so you might say the hour hand is shorter than the minute hand. The minute hand is longer than the hour hand. Okay, when the hour hand points to a number, you say that number. When the minute hand points to a number, you say a different number. The minute hand counts by ones. Okay, until it gets to that next number. And then we could count by fives: 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Okay. So those are some ways that the hour hand and the minute hand are different. Okay. Let's look at the guided practice. It says what time, write the time shown on each clock. So on your first clock, they have, I'll hold my clock back up. They have the hour hand, and you can take your clock too. It's really good if you use your clocks while you're doing this. It kind of helps you to learn. The hour hand's pointing to the 4, and the minute hand is pointing up at the 12. Okay? So the hour hand, if you look at your answer space, it says the hour hand, and it wants you to write what number the hour hand's pointing to, and it's pointing to a 4. The minute hand is pointing to on your clock, it's going to be the 12. Okay? So we would say that this is 4. Remember what I said? If the minute hand points to the 12, it is o'clock. So 4 o'clock. Okay? All right, let's look at number 2. Number 2 has the hour hand pointing to the 9. Okay? So look at your clock, set your clock, and look at the clock on your paper. Make sure it looks like mine and the one on your paper. Okay? And what number is your hour hand pointing to? Is it pointing to the 9 or is it pointing to the 12? Which one of those is the hour hand? Okay? And if you need a refresher, you can look back up at the first box on your page, and it tells you which hand is the hour hand. Okay? And then the minute hand is pointing to what number? Okay? So if on number 2 you put hour hand 9, minute hand 12, okay, you're correct. And so that answer would be what? 9 o'clock. Yes. Okay. Because I'm pointing to my hour, 9, minute 12. So 9 o'clock. Okay. All right. I want you to try number 3 on your own. Okay. Number 3 has the hour hand pointing to the 3 and the minute hand pointing to the 12. And when you finish that one, ask your parents to check it, or whoever you're at home with, ask them to check it before you move on so that you can make sure you're doing the rest of your work correctly. Okay. All right, let's look at what you're going to do today. Okay. So you're going to complete this page and upload it to Seesaw. I've added 2 blank pages to the student template. You're going to put this page on the second page on your student template, and you're going to write, you draw the hand, the hour hand and the minute hands to show the time. So they're telling you the time down here, 10 o'clock, okay? So you'll need to draw 2 hands on your clock, the hour hand and the minute hand to show 12 o'clock. And I just did that one for you, okay? So each time you'll look at the new time under the clock and write those hands or draw those hands on your clock, okay? And then on number 12, you're going to write a time, okay? You get to pick any time you want to, okay? It needs to be an o'clock time, okay? So make sure your minute hand is on the 12. Draw the hour and the minute hands to show the time. So you're going to pick a time, write it here, okay? And it says o'clock, so that means your minute hand has to be on the 12. Draw a picture to show an activity you do at that time. So maybe if you put an early morning time, maybe you draw yourself eating breakfast. If you put a late night time, maybe you draw yourself in bed sleeping. If you put a midday time, maybe you draw yourself eating lunch. If you put an afternoon time, maybe you draw yourself outside playing. Hopefully you're outside if it's sunny. Okay, so that's what you're going to do on that page. And then on page 712, you're going to also upload this page to Seesaw. Number 13 says, Sarah wakes up at 7 o'clock. Draw the hands on the clock to show 7 o'clock. So all you have to do, draw the 2 hands. You have to draw the hour and the minute to show 7 o'clock. Number 14, oops, sorry about that. Number 14 says, each string on a guitar makes a different sound when it vibrates. Joe starts tuning his guitar at 9 o'clock. It takes him 1 hour to finish. What time does he finish? So he starts tuning the strings on his guitar at 9 o'clock. He works on his guitar for 1 hour. What time does he finish? I'm going to write that time right there for me. Okay. Number 15 says, Karen starts playing soccer 1 hour after 5 o'clock. Draw the hour and minute hands on the clock to show what time Karen starts playing soccer. So she starts playing soccer 1 hour after 5 o'clock. Okay, you're going to draw the hands on this clock. Then write a sentence about an activity you might do at her time, okay, or at that time, the same time she's playing soccer. Okay, and then on number 16, it says, Bill likes to read after 3 o'clock and before 5 o'clock. Which clock shows the time Bill might read? There's only one answer, okay? So he likes to read after 3 o'clock. So it is after this time, okay, but before 5 o'clock. So before that time, okay? Which one of those clocks shows what time Bill likes to read? Okay, have fun.